Northwest Liberty News, picking the lock on the shackles of tyranny.
Machines are going to fail, and the system's going to fail.
The past is past, the future's now.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Sometimes trouble just follows a man.
There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus.
Can't you stop your lips from flapping for 2 little minutes?
It's because I'm white.
I'm a man. I'm sensitive. I need to feel loved. I need to be desired.
I'm rapidly becoming a big underground success in this town.
It's a question of methods. Everybody wants results, but nobody wants to do what they have to do to get them done.
And now, coming to you live from Kalispell, Montana, brought to you by Northwest Liberty News, it's Montana Gazette Radio with your host, James White. Okay, so I'm your host, James White. This is Montana Gazette Radio. Thanks so much for joining me here today on the show on this first day of February 2021. And yes, indeed, January is past us by. It's in the dustbin. And we're moving on to February of 2021. And what a time we have here in this country, all across the world, really. We're seeing some things that sort of unprecedented. And this is the time that we live in. This is the time, apparently, of the Great Reset or the Great Awakening. Which one? You know, I guess perhaps both. Perhaps both. Perhaps there's a running simultaneously. I just don't know. I don't know what the future holds at this point. But I tell you one thing. It's one of those things where it's what a time to be alive. That's all I can say. I've been following. If not sure if you've been following what's going on here with this, the stock trading and the GameStop, and now apparently the silver market. They are making a run on silver and physical silver. Over the weekend, a lot of the silver brokers were out of silver or stopped selling it, and it did go up. Pardon me. It did go up to, I think, over $30 at some point today, and it's dropped back down again. But there's a battle right now, against these hedge funds and these banks that have just face it, folks. They've raped and pillaged the population for many, many years, for a long, long time, and this is probably going to be coming to an end. Because as I was talking to my friend last night, as soon as they start shorting these companies again, these people on these boards are going to come together, and they're going to buy stock like they did before, and they're going to. The business model for the hedge funds is to drive the prices of the stocks down for these companies, basically put them out of business and profit off that. So now how long is that going to keep going on? How long are they going to stay together? Who knows? They're going to try to do whatever they can, though. The banks are going to try to do whatever they can to stop that. They run things. Let's just face it. Some of these guys that do these hedge fund guys flying in on helicopters, to work. The one guy was building another, $10 or $12 million tennis court cabana area next to his property. I forget the name of the guy, but he lost, I want to say, $6 or $7 billion, I believe, in just a matter of a few days. So these big hedge fund managers make billions of dollars, obviously, and they do it by sticking it to the little guy. Well, the little guy has kind of figured out the scam, and have said in this program numerous times, once they can't continue to keep the con going once the people realize that they're being conned, and that's one of the things that has come out of this whole stock, GameStop, AMC, there's another one I remember, but that's what's come out of this whole thing. Whether the hedge funds are able to recover and manipulate the system and call in favors from their criminal cronies that work in these regulating agencies, whether they're able to do that or not and stop the bleeding this time, in the bigger picture, in the overall perspective, the damage that's been done to them is immeasurable because of the fact that their con, the way that they make their money, has been exposed. That is a death knell to these folks, right? They're never going to be able to probably short these companies again, in the same manner that they did before. And where was all the outrage? Where's all the outrage when they drove these companies out of business? I mean, is a story I'm going to be doing today about the crooked feds here in Montana. The system's all rigged, folks. It's rigged. It's rigged. It's filled with crooks, filled with criminals. And a couple of the things that you're going to find out today is probably going to surprise you, because it's kind of surprised me. Some of the stuff that I came across doing some research for this show today. Pardon me. So what I'm going to do is let me make sure that my mic volume. Let me hop over here to the YouTube chat room. I don't see any chats coming through. I hope my volume's 5x5. Let me go here and open up my sound here to make sure that we're good there. That looks good. Okay. Thanks again for joining me here on this first day of February. What we're going to do is I'm going to go over an article that we've covered before on Montana Gazette, on Montana Daily Gazette, and I'm going to go over it again here today, and give you an update on it. So here's the article that I originally published here a couple of weeks ago, I believe. FBI credibly accused of corruption and fake bomb threats in Bozeman. This is regarding Terry Holscher, who's a minority businesswoman from Bozeman, and two crooked FBI agents. They had damages exceeding $2.5 million. There are some court transcripts that are coming out here pretty soon. Here is the video of the summons being served to one of the defendants in this case, and these are some of the things that are alleged by the victim in her complaint, which we are going to view here in a moment and go over in a moment here at length. So we're gonna go and break it down a little bit. Sadly, we now it's becoming clear to us here that the certain agencies that we were told that were there to protect us realize that is not their goal at all. That's not their goal at all. It's a seemingly a political agenda. It's sort of the police force of the establishment. I mean, if you think about it, folks, just think about it for 1 second. How many crimes were committed just over 2020 by Antifa and these other groups? Did you see the FBI swarming down on some of these people? Nope, you didn't. But what happens when this kid, I forget his name there, that gets attacked and shot the guy, and I'm gapping here, I can't remember his name. But they go after him. People that go to the Capitol building, they go after them. The guy with the pull down in the garage, I forget the name of the driver, the race car driver, the NASCAR guy. He's got the rope that's a pull down like you pulled your garage door down. And there's, I don't know how many FBI agents show up there to investigate that. We have Roger Stone. What was there? 19 vehicles and 28 FBI agents that showed up at his house. Unarmed guy. That's the type of thing that happens to conservatives and people that go against the establishment. If you're on the side of the establishment, then these federal criminal police forces turn the other way and don't do their jobs, and that's apparent now. We can see that now. So this goes on here in Montana as well, and that's one of the things I want to cover here today. But before I do that, let me see here. I want to talk about a couple of things here, a couple of these court cases, these Supreme Court cases. Let me bring this up here first. That's a premise. All right. So as looking into this here, I got sent this information and I looked into it, and I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with the Clearfield Doctrine, derived from the 1943 Supreme Court decision in Clearfield Trust versus the United States. And the court ruled, in essence, that by making itself a corporation, the state becomes merely another corporation, having no more nor less standing than that to which the government reduces all other corporations. Now, I did check into this and looked this decision up, and it is in fact accurate. What it says essentially, and I'm going to bring up this other document here to dig into a little bit deeper. What it says here, let me go here to this one. This is from Scribd. The Clearfield Doctrine, as set forth in the Clearfield Trust of the United States, which we just read. Governments descend to the level of mere private corporations and take on the characteristics of a mere private citizen, where private corporate commercial paper and securities is concerned. For purposes of such corporations and individuals are regarded as entities entirely separate from the government. What it says down here basically is the gist of it. Governments lose their immunity and descend to a level of private corporations when involved in commercial activity enforcing negotiable instruments, as in fines, penalties, assessments, bails, taxes, and remedies, lies in the hands of the state and its municipality seeking remedy. And governments are corporations. Governments are corporations. Private corporations and their officers are not immune from civil damages. So what this essentially says here, folks, and this is just to kind of give you an idea. When I say it's all a fraud and we've been scammed since most of us have been born, watching this show, what this is essentially saying is the Supreme Court ruling, and you can look it up yourself. It is the Clearfield Doctrine. Clearfield Trust versus United States, 318 U.S. 363-371. You can look it up yourself, and as a matter of fact, I'll put this in the chat room here for you. So what it's saying is essentially is when a government assumes the form of a corporation, which they all are, okay, make no mistake about that. When they assume the form of a corporation, Kyle Rittenhouse, yeah, thank you. That's the guy I couldn't think of earlier. Thank you. When they assume the role of a corporation, they have no more rights than any other corporation. Meaning, if someone from the board of Walmart drove up behind you and put some goofy red light on his car and tried to pull you over and give you a ticket, you go, what are you? And he calls you, and he walks up to your car and you go, who are you? Well, I'm on the board of Walmart. You were speeding. Okay. So what makes you think that you have the authority or the jurisdiction to even give me a ticket? Folks, seriously, when the state assumes the role of a corporation, they get reduced to the same rules as all other corporations. It's a con. It's all been a con. It's all been a sideshow, a trick, a ruse. All of it. For our entire lives, they don't have the rights that they have. And if you saw in here, the government, the Clearfield Doctrine, why it's crucial to know government is a corporation and not a government. This comes from the Daily Paul. This is from the Daily Paul, Ron Paul's publication. So the fact of the matter is, this has been out in the public, open for a long, long time. It's hidden in plain sight, right? They are corporations. Your sheriff's department is likely a corporation. The CPS is a corporation. The state's a corporation. The city's incorporated. All these people that have corporate status, they're acting under color of law. Color of law. That's what it is. It's just color of law violations against your rights. They don't have the right to do this. But the problem is if we don't know our rights, then they can abuse them. So there's another decision here too. Bring this other doc back up here. Judicial immunity, and I checked this one as well. This Tanzin versus Tanvir, and I have that transcript from that on the other page. But basically, it says that judicial immunity is a false doctrine without a backing of law. claiming of judicial immunity are frivolous on their face, as an oath of office anticipates individual criminal actions and potential treason by domestic enemies. So basically what it's saying is, they say, well, we've got judicial immunity, and you go into court, especially with CPS, and we've got immunity. We've got immunity. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not according to the Supreme Court ruling, you don't. But again, people don't know. People don't know what the laws are, and they get taken advantage of. You know, and now here's the problem too. There's another problem that we have to deal with as well when it comes to this. You may know, and I may know, that this is unlawful, and what they're doing is that violates our rights based upon the Supreme Court decision. It's not radio show guy Jim White saying it. This is Supreme Court decision. Okay, but here's the problem. The system is so corrupt, the whole system, that getting justice is going to be practically, well, not impossible, but very, very difficult to get justice. Therein lies the problem. We know all day long that they've done criminal things, but who's going to enforce it? We see people here that just over the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, all the stuff that's come out, the drops have been coming out, for crying out loud. Our own quote-unquote president is under, indictment in a foreign country for bribery or whatever the heck charge they have him on. Basically a Class A felon in Ukraine, I believe. Class A felon, I believe, in Ukraine. I mean, how about this guy that lied and was able to continue to keep going with Carter Page's FISA warrant? This guy gets off with probation because he's got a family. He's got a family, and he's got children coming, or his wife's pregnant or something. We're going to give him a 1 year probation. This is for lying in a FISA application that could have potentially ruined someone else's life. They don't care about that. They don't care about other lives that they ruined. That doesn't bother them. They protect themselves. They protect their own. And this has to stop, folks. And the only way it's going to stop, remember, criminals aren't going to turn themselves in typically. They don't volunteer. They don't stop committing crimes and turn themselves in. That's not how it operates. Right? They have to be apprehended. Crooks have to be apprehended. That's why good police apprehend crooks. Sadly, we're in a short supply of those right now, especially when it comes to federal agencies. Sad. Okay, so I've got a couple of things I want to go over here. I want to go over this document here of more in depth, and show you the links that this young lady, Terry Holscher, went to basically expose this public corruption. Now, this goes in line again. This broadcast here is a companion. I'm going to be printing the second part of this on Northwest Liberty News, and I'll be linking it up over at Montana Daily Gazette as well. But this is based upon, this is sort of a follow-up to this original article right here. I'm going to go more in depth here today on this and talk more specifically about the crimes that were committed against these folks. If what they allege in their sworn affidavit is true, and remember, people, sign things and they swear affidavits and they sign things and, claim them to be true. There's a big penalty if you get caught lying on those. That's why these thousands of signed affidavits for the elections for 2020, those have to be addressed. Right? Those have to be addressed. Those just can't be ignored. You can't just ignore those. Those are, those have meaning and value. I mean, you just can't sweep those under the rug. I mean, there's thousands of people that have signed affidavits claiming that they saw malfeasance occur. You can't just dismiss that, right? What happened to all those affidavits? I mean, that's a good question. I mean, it should make no difference who is sworn in as president. Those should continue to be investigated. But again, we're dealing with we're in a corrupt system. The whole system is corrupt. Everything is corrupt. So exposing the corruption is the only way that we're going to combat it. We need to get more people on our side of the boat, because there's still a lot of people that are still asleep. They don't know what's going on. They don't, it's almost like a cognitive dissonance. They don't want to believe that there's corruption, because it's uncomfortable to have to deal with that, and they just want to live their life like we all pretty much do. But these people that are running things, they don't want you just to live your life. They want to control you. Can't you tell by the masks? That should be now. There's 3 masks? I think I've heard now, and there may be more, but I've heard now the recommendation has been 4 masks. I think that was like on CNBC or something, or NBC. That's the highest I've heard. If anybody else heard higher masks, please let me know. But from what the last time I remember hearing that update, 4 masks now were the recommendation by some. I mean, come on, folks. Come on. Isn't it apparent to you what's going on? This has nothing to do with your health. There's nothing at all to do with your health. Nope. If it protected you, they wouldn't allow you to do it. Perfect example is the hydroxychloroquine. Right? When they came out and said, whoa, that actually knocks out COVID in a couple of days. What'd you see? The media machine kicked in. It's hazardous. You can't use it. They want you to ingest chlorine, and all kinds of different stuff went out there. I mean, the whole disinformation campaign, if you remember, kicked into high gear when they started mentioning the fact that hydroxychloroquine helped knock out COVID. And then the attack on a drug that's been around like 50 years, I think, been used in, I don't even know how many. I mean, it's been used for, I think it's considered completely safe, and has been for a long time, for many years. I want to say 50 years rings a bell or more. It's been around for a long time. All of a sudden it's bad. Oh, but now it's good again. I mean, if I can urge anybody listening to this show here, if I can urge you to do this, it's difficult, but take a step back from the everyday, day-to-day stuff for a minute, and just like look back at stuff in its entirety, and you realize we're being played. We're being played. We've been being played for a long, long time. Look how they were playing again. Look how they gamed the whole stock market. They made a couple of phone calls, and the brokerage houses stopped the common folk, the regular guy and gal. They stopped them from participating in it because it was damaging the big boys, the big money hedge funds. We saw it happen in the financial market, but just so you know, that it's that way in everything. All things, it's rigged against you. It's all rigged against us. There's a club, and if you're not in the club, then you don't get the club benefits. Right? The club benefits are the helicopter rides to work, $1 million mansions, the tens of millions of dollar bonuses, that type of stuff. That's club stuff. That's club membership stuff. So if you're not in the club, the way that these guys got into the club was by disenfranchising you, taking your money out of your pocket, putting it in their pocket, and destroying companies in the process. This is how they roll. This is how they operate. Banks are evil. These big banks are evil. They destroy things. They don't even have any talent, these people. All they do is have a pile of money, and they manipulate markets, and they collect on it's misery capital is what it is. It's misery capital. They profit off other people's misery and driving stocks down and driving companies out of business. They profit that way. That's where they make money. misery capital. It's all coming out now, though. It's all coming out now. Again, the fraud's being exposed. So we're going to take a really quick commercial break here. And I'm going to come back on the other side. We're going to start digging into this complaint and list. It's quite a list of crimes that are alleged against the victim here in Bozeman. And we're going to go over that after these commercial breaks. We actually just talked to Janet, who does some of my web stuff. She's working on some T-shirts right now, so we're going to have those here pretty soon. Actually, already on Patriot Prepared, but there's going to be some patriotic and other type T-shirts we're going to have available. If you want to support the show, you can do that. But in the meantime, please support the sponsors here for these that we have going around the bottom of the screen and here on these commercial breaks. We appreciate that, and just hit the like button if you don't mind. We'll be back in just a moment here, and we'll go over some of this detailed information, folks, and I'm prepared to be shocked what goes on here. It's going on here in Montana against minority business owners. Where's the outrage? We'll be back in just a moment. James White, Montana Gazette Radio. If you like classic cars, exceptional service, and a money-back guarantee, then the Corner Shop in beautiful downtown Kalispell is the place for you. Whether it's an oil change, engine diagnostic, suspension work, or brakes all around, the Corner Shop has you covered. With expert technicians and a free consultation on all services, you can't go wrong with the Corner Shop. Did I mention the classic cars? While you're waiting for your expert service to be performed, take a stroll through the showroom to see Kalispell's smoothest collection of classic cars. The Corner Shop is conveniently located at 1212 South Main, just south of the courthouse. The Corner Shop is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m., so drop by for an appointment or call 755-7777. That's 755-7777. The Corner Shop, Kalispell's full-service auto repair facility. Okay, obviously I don't have the second commercial loaded. Not sure what happened, but looks like you just get the one commercial from the Corner Shop here in Kalispell. Great folks there. Dan and the crew there in the Corner Shop. If you're in Kalispell and you're looking for car repair, go to Corner Shop. The commercial that was supposed to run was for Patriot Prepared. If you have not, if you don't have your storable food all lined up yet, or your water filtration systems in place, and there's another thing too that people forget, and it's not an attractive subject to bring up, but everybody buys food and water filtration, which is great, but no one thinks about the disposal part of it. Right, the other end of the digestive system, if you will, and we do offer some of those kits on Patriot Prepared for you to take care of that nasty situation, and we certainly do appreciate your support. Right now, the large packages are you get some substantial savings and free shipping on those. So check it out over at patriotprepared.com. If you want to support this broadcast any other way, you can go to northwestlibertynews.com. Click on the Support Independent News button there. We do appreciate your support. Okay, thanks for joining me here today. It is the first day of February already, believe it or not, 2021. And what we're going to do here is we're going to follow up on a story that I published a couple of weeks ago in the Montana Daily Gazette. I will be, as soon as this video is completed, the follow-up story is ready to go. I'm going to attach this video to the story and then publish it on Northwest Liberty News and then link it over at Montana Daily Gazette for reading and viewing pleasure. We've established, I think, at this point, at least we should have, if we've been paying attention, that the FBI especially is nothing more than the Gestapo sort of police arm of the establishment, and the stuff that they do and the people that they harass and arrest and investigate are people that generally go against the establishment. People that are anti-establishment folks get the hammer. The hammer comes down on them from the Fed. So it happens all across the country, as we've seen. Happens in D.C. We've seen that, of course, with everything that's coming out about the FISA gate or the Russia gate or whatever gate, you want to call it, the multiple impeachment attempts. It's apparent that there is a system in place that doesn't like outsiders in whatever form. Media outsiders, you can see they're using that same formula against people in the media. Quote unquote media outsiders, people on alternative news, people that don't toe the corporate line or the establishment line. They're outsiders. They are let me see here. I don't know if I have any moderators in the show in the chat room today, but I'll put that through. So anytime you're an outsider, and in any way, in any form, you are subject to ridicule, persecution, cancel culture. Now, I'm not sure. Read a story this morning. I read a post this morning, I should say. And I haven't been able to verify this, but it doesn't surprise me. Apparently, there's 2 attorneys that are going to be defending President Trump in his upcoming impeachment trial, which I don't even know how they're going to be able to do it since John Roberts recused himself, and he's the Chief Justice. But they just stuck Patrick Leahy in, I believe, as a substitute. And I don't even know if they're even allowed to do that. When I say allowed, like that really matters to them. But lawfully speaking, constitutionally speaking, again, does that even matter to them, right? I mean, we're in a time of absolute lawlessness. I mean, the law means nothing to these people. It means nothing. And you can see, and here's a good indication, and I hate to circle back again to the stock thing, but it's really big. Right? It's a really, really big deal. I know these things are probably, the price is going to deflate and everything's are going to probably work out at some point or another, and it's not going to totally crash the hedge funds because they got way too much money and influence for that. However, it has woke people up to the overall fraud and the vastness of it, and every single solitary institution that has been infiltrated by criminals, frankly. And this is all coming out now. A lot more people are becoming awake than ever before. So again, even here in Montana, which is it's a big state land-wise. I want to say it's the 4th largest state land-wise, I believe. Like that, yeah, I think it's the 4th largest. But population-wise, we just have like just over 1 million people. So it's way low on the population status. But even here in Montana, there's corruption. It's rife with corruption, and some of it's going on here in Bozeman. And we're gonna bring up this complaint here, and we're going to read over this complaint, this public corruption complaint. We're going to go over this in detail. And I don't pretend to know all of the different terms and all that stuff that's on here. At least this is the one I'm thinking it is. But you'll get the point. So, again, this is a follow-up from the article that I published earlier on Montana Daily Gazette. So this went to John Durham. This went to all these people on this list. This all got sent to them on registered mail. Sometimes it looks like twice. Everybody. Louis Gohmert, Devin Nunes, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump. Okay, these are all sent out to them, registered mail. Everybody on this list has this, what I'm about to show you here. This is a complaint for public corruption, and you can see the FBI case file there. And let's get into the meat of it. Here in 4 named, I don't know, let me see if I can make this larger. Maybe that helps. I want you to be able to read it there on the at home. Public corruption complaint for the FBI. Herein 4 named FBI agents and 14 to be named DOE agents, all in unmarked clothing, refused to ID up or to even provide a first name, acted with malice, forethought, and intent to harm me, knowingly and needlessly endangered my life, prejudicially, race bias, dangerous violation of my constitutional rights, constructional rights, statute rights, constitutional due process rights on June 3rd, 2020 at 935 hours. Specifically, Special Agent Matthew J. Dumeyer falsely amped up state and local and federal law enforcement to knowingly endanger my life by his personal execution, with conspiring others to include but not limited to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 below. So these are the claims that were levied against them. These are the claims made in the complaint. Violation of civil rights under color of law, impersonating federal judicial official and forging a signature of a federal magistrate, malfeasance in office and abuse of police power, frivolous prosecution and investigation, violation of constitutional rights, Fourth Amendment rights of illegal search and seizure, conspiracy, retaliatory raid to disrupt the private use and enjoyment of the business and property, armed group making an illegal entry, burglary and robbery of a business entity in its warehouse, biased, prejudiced, racist-driven abuse of an Asian 65-year-old senior female, causing her hospitalization twice. USC Title 15 violations, interruption of commerce, business operations, interstate shipment, international export traffic, interstate sales, and revenue disruption. They forged the warrant document, falsification, pages 1 through 7 missing, agent manipulation or evolution of document over a 14-hour period, and on and on and on. And we're going to get down to some of the specific things here that the FBI did here in a minute. Now, this is against a business owner in Bozeman who, from what I'm told by talking to the business owners, and we're going to have them on the show, okay, they were asked to perform some illegal activities by this group, and they declined and said, we're not going to do it. We're not going to ship your stuff for you in our shipments. And that made them mad. That angered them, that they got turned down from this business owner for getting involved in illegal activity. So I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I would hope that it wouldn't be too hard to convince you at this point of the rife corruption that is, the corruption that's rife throughout the whole entire system. Again, not every person is corrupt. Not every agency is corrupt. We know this. But there's a culture of corruption that goes through many of these agencies. If you've listened to any of the stuff that was put out by this Secret Service whistleblower, okay, he did like a 45-minute video or longer. He says, here's what the FBI does. He just totally blew the whistle. He goes, if they find someone that has a lot of land or a lot of property or something that they want, but trumped up charges on this guy and start putting pressure on him, if he doesn't play ball, they upload child porn on his computer. And then they've got him on that. And then now he, of course, doesn't want his life ruined. He doesn't want to be ostracized for, of course, at this point, he didn't do it, but it's been planted on his computer. So now what he does is he settles out of court. It's kept quiet. The allegations of him having the child porn are buried or sealed, yet they still confiscate his property and his cash and his everything, that his assets. They blew the whistle and laid the whole thing out, how it happens. This is commonplace, sadly, right? Similar situation here. You put pressure on folks, on good people. You put pressure on them to play ball with you, and if you don't, you're not part of, you're not part of the team, right? Then it's an us against them mentality. And I've said before on the show, I've had Joe Bannister, former IRS agent. He was in Aaron Russo's movie. Got to give Joe a call. I consider Joe a friend of mine. I've had him on the show numerous times. He said to me that he had to quit the IRS enforcement division because the culture had totally changed. He'd sit around the lunchroom and the talk would be, they'd start talking shop. And it wasn't these people are innocent until proven guilty. It was these people are tax cheats that are trying to rob the government, we have to take them down. That's the mentality that these people had. And Joe's a really good guy. Joe Bannister's a really good guy. Matter of fact, I really got to get Joe on again. I could give Joe a call. He's in California. But I'm sure he'd come back on the show and talk about that. I think he does his own podcast. I forget the name of it now. But yeah, you can play back on some of the old videos, and he said it right live on the air on one of the shows that I did with him. That's the culture that we have. It's an us against them mentality, folks. It really is. And if you're not with them, you're against them. And they do whatever they can do to take you down. Lie, cheat, steal, plant things, trump up charges, lose documents, falsify documents. I mean, anything the mafia would do, like anything the mafia would do, they would do. These federal agencies will do. Anything a mafia would do, they would do. Where do you think they learned it from? Working with the mafia. That's where they learned it from. That's where they learned how to extort people and how to put pressure on them and establish a leverage against them. They run it just like a mafia does. I wish I was wrong, but I'm not. Preface. FBI on June 3rd, 2020 at 9:35 hours engaged in theme persecution of a minority race, 65-year-old senior female American, federal registered small business in an attempt at fabricating a false prosecution. FBI practice theme prosecution shall be stopped by the current administration. FBI racist jerks knowingly false theme labeled me Antifa terrorist bomb maker theme. Then racist Special Agent Durmeyer, while armed, illegally entered and burglarized her commercial premise. So I'm waiting on some court documents right now from sworn testimony from the landlord who was involved in this whole scam. I'm waiting for sworn testimony that he had put before court under oath that they stole so much of Ms. Holzer's product that they had to load up a U-Haul truck. They stole so much of her product and everything that she had in her warehouse that they had to get a U-Haul truck to load all of the stolen goods from her in the U-Haul truck. This is a sworn testimony in front of the court under oath from the landlord that I'm waiting on, that I will publish here when I get this. This isn't hyperbole. The stuff that I'm reading to you here, and this case that I'm talking about here, is not fiction, not hyperbole. I'm not trying to bash the cops or anything like that. I'm just trying to put out the truth. Because if they'll do it to her, they'll do it to you. They'll do it to me, and they'll do it to your neighbor and your mom and your sister and your brother. They'll do it to anybody. They'll do it to anybody. So Matthew Durmeyer, Colin Ciela, Stephen Payne, Thomas Turnagel, and 13 other FBI destroyed my warehouse inventory, interrupted business operations for 14 hours, and rendered her non-operable to date. They violated all due process. They, without cause, intentionally endangered my life by falsely amping up local and federal law enforcement into believing that I was very dangerous to law enforcement career, making execution on June 3rd, 2020, upon 200 Mountain Glacier Lane, Warehouse C. And obviously, folks, this is put together not to be read like a narrative, like, an article that someone would publish. This is point by point. That's why it doesn't sound, it's not flowing properly. But you can probably see that. FBI executed an armed burglary and robbery of MRPR LLC, leaseholder Unit C, property and premise in violation of 18 U.S.C., armed burglary and robbery of my corporate commercial premise, meant to frighten, destroy my company's business inventory, my health, and to intimidate me into testifying against the FBI not testifying against FBI stooges Harris and Hess. So if you're interested in this Harris that she's talking about, go back to this website right here. Just go into Montana Daily Gazette and type in FBI. This will be the first one that comes up. The red hand, as you can see, is a pretty dead giveaway. Scroll down here to this right here, to this Harris link files, and use this username and password. And you can see you can see everything that this guy's involved in. And I would suggest that you do that at your leisure over at montanadailygazette.com. Check out this FBI story. Click on this file right here, Harris file links, and you can see what's going on with this guy. This is one of their cronies. This is one of their friends, their helpers. FBI committed multiple unlawful acts upon an American female minority race senior individual. FBI used a fake warrant. FBI impersonated a judicial official. FBI forged a magistrate's signature. FBI had no affidavit. FBI lacked authority. FBI had zero probable cause. They ramped up the local police. They declared that there was a bomb threat. They said they were making bomb materials. This is all against one person. This is all against one person that didn't want to cooperate with them. Again, what chance does anybody have against this? I mean, folks, you have practically unlimited power and authority here to do what they want to do. And they do. They do. There's no way that the FBI needs to be reformed. I don't even know if there's even enough good agents in it, sadly, to keep it, viable. It's corrupt to the core. It's sad. It's corrupt to the core. They were at one point, I think, considered the premier law enforcement agency in the country. I think those days are gone. Folks, all we can do is just expose this. What else can we do? Right? Currently, it's seeming the people that are supposed to be in positions of power over, in law enforcement positions, are taking a powder on this. They're taking a powder on some of this criminality. So, much like the stock thing, right? It's up to the folks. That's one thing that should have proven to everybody that's observing it, is that people do have power when they come together. Stated on the show all along, that's the thing that frightens them the most, is all of us coming together and realizing they're the ones that are the crooks. They're the ones that are the criminals. They're the ones that practice eugenics. Once we all come together and we start realizing that it's not the neighbor or even the guy that voted Democrat, it's not them. It's not them. They're just folks, so they got a different political view. They're not the enemy. The enemy is the people that are putting chemicals in our food, chemicals in our water, feeding us medication, preservatives in our food, creating plastics that leach into a person's system and cause them long-term health benefit or health effects, bad health effects. These are the enemies. These are the people that want to move us into small, compact cities, people that want to force us to wear masks and get vaccinated. These are the enemies of the people. These are the enemies of the people. But they don't want us to figure that out. We are figuring it out, though, see? And that once we all do en masse, the jig is up for them, and they know this. Why do you think they're so rapidly trying to move forward with some of these things? Why do you think Biden signs 40 or 41 executive orders in his first week? Because they have to. It's coming down to the end. It's coming down to where the irresistible force meets the immovable object. And I've talked about this before. It's going to come to a head at some point. It's going to have to, right? Can't continue. These two opposing forces one for wickedness and evil and oppression and tyranny, are moving fast, headlong into a collision course with the mindset of freedom, liberty, constitutional principles, and justice and law and order. Those two forces, neither one of them are just going to give up and go away. It's not going to happen. So there is, I don't think the quote unquote event has even really happened yet. I mean, it's coming. It's coming. I mean, these two groups cannot coincide in the same country for very much longer. There's going to be something's going to give. Something's going to give. Something's going to clash. I don't know what it is. My hope is that the military is indeed in control and they're going to arrest these scoundrels before that happens. But hope is not a very good long-term plan, as we know. Hope is not a very good long-term plan. So we shall see. Again, I don't know the future. I don't know what's going to happen. I am in some ways just trying to figure it out, just like you folks are. But let me finish up here with this, and then we'll end the show. This is the registered document here. These are the things they've stolen millions of dollars of material and goods from this from Miss Holzer's warehouse. These are corrupt agents, and she has taken them on by herself. She's going pro se on this because there's attorneys, it's all part of the big club, like your attorney, the bar, and all that stuff. These people are all, understand, it's all a big system. It's all a big system. And you have to work outside that system, because if you work inside that system, you don't have a chance. Just look at the 12 presumptions of the Roman court. I did that show with Ron Gibson here about a month ago, or 6 weeks ago. It was one of my most popular, I think, videos with Ron. We go through the 12 presumptions of the Roman court. When you go into court, everything's against you. It's all these presumptions hold true until you rebut them, right? The truth is out there, folks. You just have to find it. We do appreciate you looking in here on the broadcast with us today. If you can, if you want to support this show, you can go to northwestlibertynews.com, northwestlibertynews.com. Click on the Support Independent News there. Please support our sponsors, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Or you can go to montanadailygazette.com to see all the latest news in Montana and outside of Montana. Try to keep that updated pretty regularly over there. And we try to just report truth. So we appreciate you looking in. I'm going to publish the other part of this article here on Northwest Liberty News after this video is complete and processed. And then I will share it over on Montana Daily Gazette. Thanks so much for looking here with us on the broadcast. I may do another broadcast later. I'm not sure. If I do, I'll send out an announcement. Thanks again much for looking in. This is James White from Northwest Liberty News and Montana Daily Gazette saying bye now. And I don't think I have the show closed here. I don't. So we'll talk to you later. James White.